What's up? It's your boy Carcino here, and we're here with a video that we've been trying to do for the longest period of time. And something keeps happening, and I forget to do the video. But this is the truth behind the TV show One on One. One on One was a lot of people's TV shows. And I was like surprised because I didn't even think that many people even knew about the program. And I'm like, man, that's interesting. I'm like, I didn't know this many people paid attention to One on One. Man, that was a shock to me. Now, One on One, the TV show, was designed, okay, back in like right before 9/11 and all this stuff was going on, back in the like 97, 98, around that time. They were looking to come out with a sitcom because UPN was capitalizing at this time off the African American market for TV shows. This is how they built themselves up, getting blacks to watch the shows, and they were putting out all these programs so that the urban market would have something to watch. So the show started Flex Alexander and Kyla Pratt. Now, Kyla Pratt is who they were really interested in. You guys remember her in Love and Basketball, and you fell in love with her. And from that point on, when she was in Love and Hip Hop, I mean, not Love and Hip Hop, Love and Basketball. And she was everybody's favorite person on the Proud Family, and they loved her. She has been doing commercials and like since she was about what 5. She was in all kind of commercials. Very talented. So they definitely wanted to get a hold on her. So I think when she was like 11 or 12 years old, they decided to film a pilot for the show. Flex already had a show that canceled out and bottomed out. So he was looking to get back into doing another show, but he had to reinvent his brand because he used to have a high top fade with the braids, and Flex was looking more like Marlon Wayans. And a lot of people got those two confused a lot. Marlon Wayans and Flex. I mean, seriously. People thought he played in Mo Money. And I'm like, that was not Flex. That was Marlon Wayans. So he was getting credit for something he had never done. So, anyway, he, cut his hair, got rid of the dreads, went to the gym, worked out, started looking like Bill Bellamy, who he was hanging around at the time. Early on in the 90s, that's who he used to hang around. He used to do the comedy shows together. So he started dressing up like Bill Bellamy, who looked like an R&B singer, but was doing comedy. So anyhow, the show came about when they did this pilot. She was 12 years old when they did the pilot. And once they did the television pilot or whatever, they decided, it's not strong enough. Like, it's done. Like, this is a bad idea. Then Dr. Doolittle, you know, had dropped. And she had did both at the same time. So when she filmed the pilot, she was like 12 years old. And then 4 years later, they want to do the show because Dr. Doolittle was a hit. And she was one of the main stars of Dr. Doolittle. And then the producers, they ran back to them. They ran back to the producers of the show like, you idiots had this show with her on it and you didn't pick it up? It's like, she's gold. Pick that show up right now. It's like, the show is like 4 years old. I don't give a damn how old it is. Pick it up. So they picked up the show 4 years later. And this is what I told you about television shows. For all you guys who was on 50 Cent case, what's going on with BMF? Man, what's up with BMF? The only thing 50 did that was wrong was tell everybody about it early. So when you tell people about it that early, you're building up interest, but people are very impatient in social media world. They don't know how long it actually takes to get the money right. Get everything in position. And it takes years. Sometimes it takes 7 years. You guys wouldn't believe Family Matters was 7 years in the making. 7. The Cosby Show was only like three years, maybe 2.5, before they decided to go ahead and greenlight it. But that's Bill Cosby. So going into this show, after they pick it up, the show right away plays as a coming of age story between a father who's single, whose mother was played by Tachina Arnold, who got a job going way out somewhere else. I forgot, she was in like Sing Sing somewhere. She had to go way out, and she ended up leaving her daughter there with his father to go to school. And Flex is playing a sports broadcaster now. He blew his knee out in an NBA game, and now he doesn't play anymore. So now he's got his degree in communications. So now he's working for a television station in Baltimore. Now, they used to have, the best lineup ever. They had another comedian that he could play off of who was good for the one-line jokes. What's his name? Kelly Perrine. That guy, that actor. I don't know what the hell ever happened to him. He was pretty good. Kelly Perrine. But anyway, he lived across the hall, and they had the Cicely Sewell, who was on the show, who played Spirit Jones. Hold on. Hello? Yes. Okay, I might have the prescription here in my house, so I'm gonna look for it here. So I'll check and see if I can find it. All right. Okay. Thank you. Now, sorry about that. Now, I gotta find a prescription now for somebody. Now, the spirit of the show worked. And as the show went on, the show was taking new areas of like directions as far as where they were gonna go, and Arnaz, who became the love interest of Kyla Pratt's character Brianna, and it was fun. It was high school life shown from the urban market, and there are a lot of fathers out there who are raising their daughters. and he was the buddy parent, and he had to, show that she was serious about her life now, and get her, like he's a serious father, and she has to respect him because before she see her father, every couple of weekends, and that was that. Now Arnez, who came in and started doing the show, he had a massive crush on Brianna when they met, and they started the show from there, from season one. Now, as the ratings for this show started to get up, what was very key about this show is the pureness of the show. The dating without having sex involved. But the pressures of people trying to pressure you to give up and compromise to what peer pressure was in having sex. Brianna's character never had sex. That was the premise of it. She was a virgin, and because she was a virgin, this show was able to sustain many of years because her abstinence is what kept her pure and still have, like this fun and upbeat relationship. Now, Arnez, his character was like, his mother was white, his dad was black, and he wanted to be a rock star. My mom got a crab restaurant and all these different things. So these two went battling back and forth. Now, after the third season, you started to see some changes happen within the script. One of the changes was that they were reducing the character that was getting a lot of likes on the show. And a character that they should have brought on more was Reagan Gomez Preston's character of Bernadette. She played Flex's youngest sister, who was the auntie of Brianna. And that would have made a lot more sense to have her on the show. And done that a little bit more. Now, when the first episode aired on September the 3rd, 2001, the very next week, tragedy hit the world. So 9/11 happened, and a lot of plans for the show and a lot of things people thought this was going to hurt the program. It didn't hurt because the urban market, not to say they didn't care about 9/11, they just wasn't really that vested in what was going on in world politics at that time. So everything from the urban community stayed basically the same for them as they heard about the war and all this other stuff, but they were really nothing changed in their everyday walk of life. I was in the African American communities, no one really even talked about 9/11. Where that was all everyone talked about in the other parts of town. Now, the show got 4.1 million viewers the first season. The second season, it did about the same. But it had fell a couple of slots. And they knew what the problem was with the show, but there was some changes made that didn't go well with the star Flex Alexander and some of the writing. Now, Flex Alexander was nominated a lot for his outstanding work in a comedy series, right along with Kyla Pratt. But he was a little disturbed in how the process was taking place because they were like, all right, listen, we have a problem here. We have a failure to reach an agreement. Our deal was up for the 2 years. We were picked up, and they're seeing that Flex's character really, as she's going through high school, they kind of did it year by year and did it kind of fast as if they were planning for a 5 year sitcom. But the TV writers and the creators of the show didn't really want that. And they wanted to, because I think her name is Annetta T. Boone. She was the executive producer of the show. And this was like her baby. And I don't know if she's still alive. I think she just passed away this year. If she did, rest in peace, to her, because she the one created the show. Some of the producers, like Greenblatt and the rest of these guys, they were upset with the change of direction. And even one of the producers who left the show, David Gellinari, I think it's Jay Linari or something like that. He ended up leaving the show because they were making changes to the character and to the show that he didn't like. They were reducing more Flex's work and making him more of a goofy character that just comes in and out. And the whole story was more about Kyla Pratt. So the story changed from a father who was basically educating his young adolescent daughter, and like, you don't know everything, and she goes out, and then it was just more about her life, and the shows were more about her, with the father kind of like making some appearances here and there, but really taking a back seat to Kyla Pratt's character, which is the direction the show wanted to go in anyhow. So this is where they were like leaning towards. This is what the show was about. This is the direction they wanted to go in from the beginning. Now, Spirit Jones, which was her best friend, who everybody loved, they were starting to diss her character in this third season, which the producer, David Gellinari, whatever, and they brought in Dan and David and all these other, David Hodge. They were like, I think we need to make some changes. And Annetta Boone, she was not really excited about these changes, but they were like forcing the characters and the things in the projects that she cared about the most. They were altering the way it was going, because this was her baby, and I think she did die in like April or March of this year. So rest in peace, Unetta. You created a great program, and she has worked on a lot of different things in her career. I mean, she did the Raven series. That's a Raven, First Prince of Bel Air, The Parenthood, The Hewleys, My Wife and Kids. So she definitely was on point. Now, Flex had, he was with Shanice. Shanice is the R&B singer, used to be an R&B singer. He got her to do the opening theme song, "Living One on One," on the for the show. So that's his wife. They've been together for God knows how long, and he's basically not happy right now because the way his character is being minimized in the third season. In the third season, they lost half their viewers. They lost about 1 million viewers the previous year, and they felt the main problem was, why are we paying more money and we're getting less views? This is not the way to go. We need to revamp what we're doing here. So it was a big argument about what direction they were going to go in, and UPN was not into the position of giving out money because they were in a negotiation to be bought out by the CW. So as this process was moving forward, everyone is like, okay, this is what we're going to do. We're going to see how it's going to play out. And they were very interested in trying to make a transition. So the merger from WB and UPN to form the CW, and they were already talking about, let's go and do this and make this the plan we want to do, and everybody's upset with how the characters are being rewritten. And UPN's fight with 101 was a big major fight. The studio, the characters, they all banded together because they didn't like the direction, things were going, but they're actors. So they were going to do their jobs. And Flex Alexander accepted his less role when the show moved from Baltimore, that it's been at for 4 seasons, and they cut out the best friend off the show, who was the spirit of the show. Spirit, she's gone. Um, I don't know what happened to Kelly Perrine. He was gone, and the show just lost a lot of its luster after season 4. They created a whole new show, brought Brandy and Ray J on there, who are the TV show killers, and they bring Ray J in there, and they write this whole scene where she's moved out, she's got her own place, and the dad pops in every now and then to make sure Arnaz is not sleeping with his daughter, and it was just bad. But in the last episode, she ends up sleeping with Ray J and having them in the bed sleeping together as Arnaz goes and chases after Brandy, who he thinks is his true love, because Arnaz and her broke up, and he goes after her, and she ends up sleeping with Ray J, and then the whole show goes to trash. That's how the show ends. The whole season, everything, because they were expected to get picked up to go to the next, continue on. The scripts and the story were already written. Unetta T. Moon was livid when they were saying UPN's not going to pick up 101. Now, here's the news, and this is where all the confusion comes in at. People are so confused over the fact that, oh, well, it was Will Smith's, Will had a lot of power. Will had the TV show, Will Smith, Will Smith, Will Smith. It was, when you're going against Will Smith. So everybody was blaming Will Smith for his show and saying, oh, that show, they couldn't, he had power and they was only taking a couple of shows. And even though we had better ratings, they took that show because of politics. No. I'm here to tell you that is not the truth. Even though it came out of the actor's mouth that the politics came into play and Will Smith made some calls and they took the Will Smith show, let me tell you how TV shows are negotiated. Will and Jada were executive producers of this show, meaning that this show was not going to happen without them, their show. Okay? And in their negotiations to renew, they agreed to come on the show and make an appearance on this show. So that was going to garner ratings to have them appear actually on that program. So they were going to take that program knowing that that was the case. That wasn't what sealed the fate. What you guys didn't know is there was a TV show, because you guys don't watch it, called Reba. Reba is what did in 101. Their decision of not renewing Reba, which started around the same time as 101 and continued about the same period of time. So Reba had it in their contract that they had to be picked up for so many years. So when you look at the show Reba, it was negotiated in the contract when they had Reba McEntire on there as the show. No matter what the ratings were, they had it in the contract that they had to pick up Reba for so many seasons. So no matter what Reba's ratings were, they had to contractually put it up. It was negotiated before the show even aired. And they did this, and they did the merger, and they got they had a syndication contract which was worth $20 million. So a lot of the shows suffered because they had to re-up with Reba. It was guaranteed to be picked up. But everybody look at Will and Jada's program because it's a black show and blame it. No, Reba having to be picked up is what did it. So now that controversy has been, taken care of, we move forward. The script that was written was going to continue where Kyla Pratt's character, who apparently gave up her virginity, we weren't going to know that yet. We just saw them in the bed together. We don't know what actually went down there. But it was going to lead to Arnaz, and they had another 5 seasons of this basically written out, where Arnaz is going to end up in the end marrying Kyla Pratt. And this is like how they were going back and forth. They both were going to date. He was going to date Brandy. She was going to date Ray J. That was going to split up. And then eventually those two were going to end up together and married. And then they were going to have kids. But the show didn't work out that way. It was a big misunderstanding. And the TV show, they did a spinoff called Cuts, where Kevin Barnes, Flex's little brother, is running a local barbershop and a day spa. And that show was picked up, and that was going to be called a replacement show. And that was going to be the spinoff, and that's a whole nother story. So, hope you enjoyed the 101 breakdown. It's your boy Carcino telling you guys, don't forget to subscribe, hit the notification button, and definitely show some support to the page. Hit the Cash App up. That's my super chat. Carcino, is the name on the Cash App. Or you can click the link in the description box and make a donation there. We appreciate all the support. I'm out.